Hey guys, it's Danny. Today I'm gonna tell you how I put together this Biorb for my vampire crabs. Yes, I know. I showed you in a previous video that I actually have a paludarium for them. Well, change of plan. I'm gonna tell you why. Towards the end of the video, I have quite some valid reasons to go against that initial idea and to use the Biorb, and I will tell you all about it at the end. But for now, let me just show you how I put it together, how I made it work. It has been running for a month and a bit, I believe, so quite a little bit. I have all of the crabs that I got. Everybody's doing okay in here actually. It's working much better than I thought. So let's start with that, and then at the end of the video I'm gonna tell you what, prompted me to do this instead of the paludarium and what are the plans for the future. Alright, let's not waste any time and let's start with the substrate. I'm using a soil from Zoomit. I'll put it on the screen, I forgot how it's called. I think Repti soil. It's the first time this product is available in my country, and I have to say I find it extremely good. Now the Biorb doesn't need fake layers or leca layers or anything of the sorts because the bottom is raised. So pretty much the bottom of the Biorb is a reservoir. So I don't need to raise anything, it already has a platform. So I'm arranging the soil on the bottom, which has a wicking mat that goes into the reservoir, so this is how the soil will stay wet. And now I'm doing some fitting of the swimming pool, which, yes, I know it looks unnatural, but it does the job. It is what it is. I'm arranging also some woods, and I'm trying to go for this, I think it's called dragon wood. It has a lot of crevices and a lot of spaces where tiny little crabs can hide, and they actually really love these types of woods, so I'm reusing them in this scape. For plants, I'm going with some typical terrarium plants. The only, let's say, focal point is this alocasia. I think it is the black velvet. Now it's available in flower shops and it's very affordable. Woohoo! So it's worth making it a centerpiece. It's perfect for terrariums. It likes high humidity. And then I'm going with some good old Phytonias, which are pretty much the cheapest flowers or plants at the flower shop. I also found a very pretty peperomia. I don't know like the full names of these plants. I don't know too much about them other than I had them in other terrariums before and they did really well. I know that Phytonias really hate to dry out, and this terrarium, which will be constantly moist, or the soil will be constantly moist, is perfect for them. And to this day, all of these plants are doing absolutely fantastic. They're growing very well. I didn't have any problems with the plants. But then again, I went with some very safe plants. So before I fill the swimming pool, I'm going to add water to the Biorb. It can actually hold quite a few liters of water. I'm using reverse osmosis water here because any salt quantity in the water will deposit on the sides of the Biorb and it's gonna be very bad. Also, since it is a self-watering setup, I would prefer reverse osmosis water so that I don't have an excess of salts. On the top, the Biorb has a humidifier, so I'm using reverse osmosis water in that humidifier. And for a little whimsy, I can turn on the humidifier and it looks great. Now, I'm also using vivarium moss that I found around. This is dried moss, even though it's green. It's alive, it's just dried. All you have to do is wet it and then rinse the water out and place it in your terrarium. I'm using two types of mosses, even though I'm not showing you in this video. I use that vivarium moss, which I don't know what species it is, and also I added some frog moss. The frog moss is pretty much gone. I don't have it anymore because guess what? The Biorb, even though humid, it doesn't really stay wet because you have that fan that works all of the time. You cannot stop it. You can only put it on a low setting, but it's still too much for the moss. So the frog moss did not survive. I'm only left with this moss from the vivarium moss type. I don't know what type of moss it is, but yeah, that's one of the major drawbacks to Biorbs. They're not wet. They're humid, but they're not wet. Right, so now that everything is settled, it is time to add the crabs. And I have to say, even in the temporary setups, I did not lose any crab. I think they are very hardy creatures. I tried to give them the best conditions that I could, but I think the Biorb will provide much better conditions and I think overall a much cleaner place to live in than the temporary solutions that I put together initially. Mainly because I can definitely clean the swimming pool here. I could not properly clean the other setup, which is one of the drawbacks, one of the reasons why I thought, you know what, I'm going for a swimming pool. I'm not like allocating a space in the actual terrarium for crabs. And I have to say, everything looks good to this day. All the crabs are happy, and I'm very happy that I'm able to use the Biorb once again. Alrighty, so we're back. Now, I'm happy to say that for the past month, I do not have issues with my crabs in this enclosure. It might actually be big enough for them not to have issues. Now, why did I go for the Biorb instead of paludarium that I showed you in a previous video? Well, it's a multitude of things, right? So, first of all, I had the Biorb for a few years now. And if you don't know my orchid channel, you might not know the story with this thing. I got it to grow some high humidity orchids in. And what I discovered is that this thing that costed me an arm and a leg, not to mention transport, because I live in Cyprus. Transport is just as expensive as the product. Not gonna go into the full details. I got it from a shop I will never purchase from again. I paid so much for it, but I wanted it so bad for orchids and it failed. Because, well, I have an entire video about it if you really want to know, like, I'll put it down below in the description, but basically, it's not what I expected. It's, for the price, it offers very little. It doesn't stay as wet as I hoped it would. It's underlit, this particular one at least. The light is what I assume to be the cheapest, like, LED lights, not even grow lights. It's just... it was horrible. My experience with it was horrible. Maybe because I had such big expectations for it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can watch that video if you want to learn more about it. I'm not a fan. I really am not a fan. This was the first Oase product that I ever purchased and it put me really down for the brand. Second product I bought from Oase, again, no. Really disliked it. It was a filter that was continuously spitting air. I digress. Third product I kind of didn't like, but I'm okay with it now, is the surface skimmer. The fourth product that I finally liked from Oase is the Biomaster filter. But this was the first product from Oase and I was like, oh, heck no. Anyway, so I had it around, not doing anything, and I felt so guilty for spending so much money on it. I felt guilty for my husband, for everything. I thought, well, I need to do something with it, but what? Because I cannot use it with orchids. I'm not really into many other plants. You know, what can I do with it? Will it work for vampire crabs? Yes, I can make it work. And I did. That's one. Second, I actually discovered all of my vampire crabs are male. So there will be no babies. When will I get new vampire crabs? I don't know. These guys don't even live that long, maybe a year. So maybe by the time that I might find some females, they're already gonna be gone. And third, am I going to really damage or change to such an extent the paludarium that was so expensive? Again, another guilty purchase, but anyway. So am I going to destroy it by adding, you know, that separation layer from the water side to the back side? I was watching all sorts of tutorials. I was looking, you know, for things that I could use and utensils and, you know, what other people are doing, and I could not find them in my local shops. We don't have much diversity here when it comes to this stuff. I was looking for that black foam, couldn't find it. We don't have like the pond type of shops here. Anyway, so I was sitting with that paludarium for a month considering, am I going to destroy the amount of money I paid for it, not knowing if I can make it work because I'm not very talented at things, not finding everything that I kind of wanted for it. I reached the conclusion that no, it's not worth it. And what's worth to make out of it for now is something that will not include me damaging it. I made an orchidarium. Initially, I wanted to make it an orchidarium with vampire crabs, but then I thought, wait, what if the vampire crabs will go and eat the flowers of my orchids, which is a real possibility. And no, that's not gonna happen. So all roads point to the Biorb. It was sitting there, accumulating dust and scratches. By the way, major tip for you guys. Oh, where did I put it? Oh, did I give them to my husband? Oh no. Okay, I didn't find them. So it did have scratches. Obviously, it's plexiglass, it's plastic, it will get scratches. What I did was I got a car light polish. I learned this tip from the internet, so if you Google it, you'll know what I mean. So yeah, it's not the polish that you use for the car paint, but for the car light bulb. Spotlight, how do you call it? I don't know. I'm not into cars that much, so I don't know the English equivalents for car parts. But anyway, I'll put something on the screen. And I polished it on the outside, and it worked like a charm. I managed to get rid of 99% of the scratches. Mind you, they weren't very deep scratches. They were mild surface scratches. It worked a treat. I don't have any visible scratches on the Biorb now. Let's not touch it too much. Even if I look at it, it gets a scratch. So yeah. That's a little tip for you. If you have plexiglass stuff, you can polish them with car light polish. I know it's not called that. I don't know how it's called. Right. Let's talk about that swimming pool. Is that swimming pool working? Yes. They have molted in that swimming pool. It's easy to clean, easy to refill. I'll be absolutely 100% honest with you guys. I'm not entirely sold on the sand. They never burrow on the sand. I don't know. The shell always is on top, and I've seen them sitting on the sand, but they never like burrow inside it. I put sand, you know. I don't know if they need it, but it has some sand. It has black sand. It does not accumulate algae, and I use tap water in there. It's not reverse osmosis water, which I use just to spray everything. As you might notice, the moss is not staying very green, and that's because the Biorb is not that wet. Yes, it is humid, but humidity doesn't equate to wetness. So from time to time, every few days, I spray it with reverse osmosis water in a spray bottle, because otherwise the moss would be... That's what the orchids didn't like either. But everything else is doing okay. I mean, I have phytonias and everything that is quite easy to grow. All of the crabs have hiding places. I have woods and all of that. I did not see any battles. I did not see any missing limbs. And whenever I get a shell out when they molt, it's always complete. And that's how I know I have males, by looking at that shell, because now I know how to tell them apart. When I got them, I didn't really know. Now I know they're all males. Problem solved. No babies. So again, because they're all males, is it really worth like destroying the paludarium? Maybe now it's not the time. Maybe I will get more experience later. Will I ever have the opportunity to buy vampire crabs again? Again, I don't know. So I'm gonna be left with a damaged, let's say, paludarium, or one that will be harder to undo, you know, when I can just make it for orchids, not do anything bad to it, and if I ever so desire to really completely make it a paludarium forever, then I can do so. But yeah, now is not the time. Now the Biorb has meaning, has purpose. Woohoo! So yeah, I think it looks quite nice. I like looking at them, and I do see them from time to time. Obviously, I give them food on a daily basis, or if not on a daily basis, every 2 days or so. What I do is sprinkle like the food, and then sprinkle the actual reverse osmosis water to soak a little of that food and make it easily edible. So yeah, they're doing good here. It worked out, and I really don't think you need like a whole area in an aquarium like with filtration and all of that. They rarely go in the water, and the water, typically what I do, I put water, and then if I want to change it, I just dump it out and water the plants around, and then put fresh water, and it's fine. It's clean water. One thing that I would do if I would ever do this again is maybe camouflage this little swimming pool a little bit, because it looks like plastic. I wanted a solution fast. It works. If I'm ever gonna redo a little bit the scape, I will probably maybe glue some rocks to it, or maybe find something at the pet shop that looks a little bit more natural. I didn't care about it all that much, but yeah, it looks a little unnatural. I'll give it that, but it's okay. It works out. So yeah, I don't think vampire crabs, for the amount of time they spend in water, I don't think they need like a the whole fiasco with the filtration and all of that. I also had some floating plants at some point, but they ate them and I cannot find them at the shop anymore. But if I find them again, you know, maybe some duckweed, maybe stuff that people don't want, I'm gonna put it in the little swimming pool. I used to have some, but it's not there anymore. I have some moss, and from time to time I see them like doing something with the moss, maybe eating it, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, other than that, I don't have any other types of plants there. I think it's important to have some plants so you kind of mitigate the algae situation. I don't have much or at all algae, but yeah, I would put some more floating plants whenever the stores stock up. I'm gonna get some more floating plants to put in there, and that's about it. I blabbed enough. So yeah, this is my new vampire crab setup. I think it's okay for them. They seem okay. They seem like they're doing their own stuff. I always see them pecking, eating. They're not like doing nothing. Yes, they do have their hiding places, but even in the daytime, especially when I put food, they come out, they sense. So I see them picking stuff. So I think they're doing okay. I don't think this is a bad setup for them. I think the swimming pool idea is okay. I don't think they need more than that, as long as I maintain it clean. You know, Bob's your uncle. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. This is the update on the vampire crabs. Sadly, no vampire crab babies anytime soon. Maybe ever. Who knows? You never know when you live on an island. You never know what the future holds. But definitely, I would love to keep vampire crabs in something like this because, you know, it's fun and it looks nice. It's a nice decorative piece. It can even go in a living room, you know? And it has a little life in it. I mean, plants are alive as well, yeah. But in the sense that it has something moving in there, right? So yeah, with that said, thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. Let me know how are your setups for vampire crabs. What did you find works for you? And yeah, with that said, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye.